My mother-in-law is the type of person who enjoys flaunting even the smallest achievements in the most extravagant manner. Even though her own life lacks any refinement, she makes a concerted effort to project an image as if she is the center of attention in social circles. One glaring example of her absurd behavior is the monthly club party she hosts. To clarify, there is no actual club. She merely invites her friends and co-workers for an evening gathering because they share the same profession. She refers to them as her fellow in achievement. This peculiar ritual has been ongoing for quite some time. During these gatherings, all they do is brag about their accomplishments and achievements from the past month. Considering the circumstances, you can picture how thrilled my mother-in-law was to share the news that my grandfather had organized a destination wedding for me, complete with a 6-day stay package. This was his generous gift to me, as I had shared my dream wedding plans with him on numerous occasions. Considering my limited budget and the size of the venue, I had meticulously created a guest list. My husband and I had discussed the situation beforehand, and both agreed to prioritize our guests. Coming from a large family, narrowing down the guest list was challenging, but I managed to invite 22 people, while my husband invited 18 of our close friends and family members whom we regularly interacted with. We were all set to send out the invitations when my mother-in-law unexpectedly showed up at our house late one evening, uninvited and unwelcome. It was already 9 p.m., and her presence irritated me from the start. "You need to make changes to the guest list," she demanded. I couldn't fathom why she believed she had a say in the people I wanted to invite to my own wedding. My husband, to my dismay, supported her stance, which raised immediate concerns for me. "What changes are you talking about?" I asked. "I've already promised a few of my work friends an invitation," she replied, and added, "They're part of my group of achievement." I politely informed her that this was not possible. "There is no room left on the guest list. Every invitee is someone we have a close relationship with and interact with regularly," I said, seeking support from my husband, but he avoided my gaze and sided with his mother. "Can't you make adjustments?" she insisted. Frustrated, I showed her the guest list. "Every individual on this list is intimately connected to our lives. There's simply no way to exclude them," I continued to explain. She then suggested, "Why not remove your cousin's sister? She recently moved to Birmingham, and it would be inconvenient for her to travel to the States." My patience wore thin. I've lived with her for 5 years after college. She's family. There's no way I'm excluding her. I asked my husband to reason with her, but he continued to support her perspective. "It's important to invite her chosen guests, especially after she shared details about the destination wedding with them," he said. I tightened my lips in frustration, feeling utterly lost on how to reason with my own fiancé, who was clearly being irrational. My anger boiled over, prompting me to storm out of the room. The following day, I woke up with resolve. I would give them a taste of their own medicine. If they could be so thoughtless about my wedding, all for the sake of saving face in front of their colleagues, then I could be equally inconsiderate. I dialed my grandpa and recounted the events from the previous night. When I finished explaining, I made it clear that I wouldn't waste my energy trying to make them see reason. Instead, I would deprive them of the main attraction of their little scheme. "I'm removing you and Grandma from the guest list, along with Dad's brother and his family. Please cancel the gift you were planning to give me, as you are no longer invited," I informed Grandpa. Thankfully, my grandfather understood my intention and supported me without harboring any resentment. When I sent the updated guest list to my mother-in-law and fiancé, they were taken aback. "Those are the only individuals I could remove," I calmly informed them. "But in doing so, we lost our wedding venue. We need to find a new venue within the next 2 months, or postpone the wedding. Furthermore, there's the inconvenience of reprinting the invitation cards and organizing lodging for guests traveling from out of town," my fiancé lamented. I wanted both of them to grasp that none of this predicament would have arisen if it weren't for the generosity of someone in my family who had funded half of our wedding. However, I didn't expect them to suddenly start apologizing for their actions. My mother-in-law came over again, expressing remorse. "I'm sorry for coercing you into altering the guest list. Please call your grandpa and invite him back. Ask him not to cancel the hotel reservation or make any changes," she requested me. I couldn't help but wonder why she was apologizing now, after she had already achieved what she wanted. "Why are you apologizing now?" I asked. "You made a commitment to your colleagues, and now they are receiving invitations," I added. "Inviting them wouldn't make sense unless the wedding was at a destination. A non-destination wedding would be ordinary and uninteresting to others," she explained. Upon hearing her express these thoughts, my husband finally admitted, "I regret supporting her decision." However, I wasn't ready to let his actions off the hook so easily. "You shouldn't need extreme measures to support me in obvious situations," I reminded him. Although he apologized once again, I made it clear, my decision is final. Even if I were to reinvite my grandpa, we wouldn't get back his incredibly generous gift. Was I being an angel for standing my ground? I asked myself. The wedding is mine, and I should focus on myself. Yet I couldn't help but feel a bit petty about not reversing my decision. Does this make me a bad person? However, my mother-in-law wasn't finished causing problems for us. My firm decision not to ask my grandfather to return his gift visibly upset my mother-in-law. She made it a habit to call my fiancé every other day. She portrayed me as an ungrateful troublemaker seeking revenge. While yes, I had taken certain actions that made me feel good, her labeling me ungrateful when she was responsible for this situation felt like too much. But it didn't end there. She went a step further, advising my fiancé to reconsider his life decisions, insinuating that what I had done was just the beginning, and that his life would be this way if he married me. During one of these conversations, my fiancé was speaking on speakerphone, and I overheard these hurtful words. "She's an ungrateful troublemaker," my mother-in-law uttered. "This is just the beginning. Your life will be like this if you marry her," she added. I was grateful for this transparency, because I knew that my fiancé typically concealed anything that could potentially create discord in our relationship. He did tell his mother, "You crossed the line," but he didn't confront her more assertively. It's his relationship with his mother, and I understand that I can't ask him to sever ties with her just because she dislikes me. However, I am aware that if her interference continues, I might reach a breaking point, as I can't imagine enduring this for the rest of my life. Today, I had a heart-to-heart with my grandpa, sharing the news about the new wedding venue we had secured. While it didn't align with the vision I cherished my whole life, it was still a beautiful place, and I found happiness in it. I reassured him, "You are invited again," and his laughter warmed my heart. My gratitude and love for him overwhelmed me. He had consistently supported me in everything I did, and he continued to do so now. Confronting my husband about my mother-in-law's escalating behavior became necessary. Our conversation delved into the awkwardness certain situations had created and the pain they had caused. In the end, my husband promised, "I will address the issue with my mother and clarify her role in our lives." I hoped that finally, the onward journey would be smooth and devoid of drama. The wedding day arrived, and I am now officially married. Despite the unexpected turns, the wedding was a thing of beauty, and my happiness knew no bounds. I couldn't help but smile when I noticed my mother-in-law sulking in a corner with her work friends, whom she had invited. In a surprising turn of events, my grandpa gifted us a house as a wedding present, a joint gesture from him and my uncles. In the grand scheme of things, I am just thrilled to embark on this new chapter of my life with my husband. It infuriates me when people believe they have the audacity to dictate how someone should get married or whom they should invite, I vented to my friend Leah. It's time someone told your mother-in-law her decision-making days are over. If she wants to flaunt, she can plan her own event in the future. You should firmly tell her to back off and leave you in peace, Leah reasoned, and added with a raised eyebrow, Are you absolutely certain about marrying that guy? Anyone with an ounce of insight would have seen through the manipulative game your mother-in-law was playing, and yet he supported her. You're not clueless, but perhaps you should scrutinize your life choices more closely. On a personal note, I live in Queensland while my family resides in New South Wales. Recently, my parents and my 27-year-old sister decided to invite themselves to my house for a week-long holiday after their cruise got cancelled. Frankly, I wasn't thrilled about them staying for such an extended period, especially considering I'm pregnant and already juggling the responsibilities of caring for a 2-year-old. To complicate matters, our house isn't spacious enough to accommodate multiple guests. I have only one spare queen-sized bed, which my parents were occupying. My sister, however, opted to sleep on my couch. She could have shared my bed with me since my husband is away for work, but her snoring and my constant nudges to roll over didn't make it a viable option. After 2 days of their stay, during dinner on the second night, my dad dropped a bombshell. We've invited your sister's boyfriend to fly up and stay with us for the entire weekend, he announced casually. He's already booked a ticket and will be arriving on Friday morning at 9 a.m. I stared at him in disbelief. What? You've invited someone I've never met to stay in my house without consulting me first? My dad shrugged. He seems like a good guy. We didn't think it would be an issue. But where will he sleep? I asked, feeling my frustration rise. We don't have enough space. He can take the couch, my sister chimed in. I'll share your bed. The idea of a stranger sleeping in my house while my 2-year-old son is in his own room is unsettling. In sheer frustration, I called my husband. They invited my sister's boyfriend to stay for the weekend without even asking me, I exclaimed. We need to set some boundaries, my husband agreed and continued. Tell them no, this is our home, and they need to respect that. When I called my sister to communicate our decision, my mother exploded in anger. How dare you question our judgment, she shouted. We wouldn't invite someone into your house who couldn't be trusted, she added. But you've only known him for 5 weeks, I protested and continued. I don't feel comfortable with this. We're leaving, my mother snapped, and it's clear your husband has manipulated you against us. 3 days passed, and they attempted to call me, acting as if nothing had transpired. Their inability to comprehend my reaction left me utterly baffled. I am left wondering if anyone can shed light on their perspective and help me make sense of this situation. Am I overreacting? I don't think so. I believe I was being a responsible parent, not an unreasonable person. I didn't invite them, and I certainly don't have a serial obligation. I won't be a gracious host to a family that essentially invaded my home. To top it off, they invited a 4th person, a complete stranger, to stay without my knowledge or consent. Their entitlement is baffling. It's almost like they can't stand the fact that I've grown up and am making decisions without seeking their approval. This is the moment to establish boundaries, I told my husband. I'm not a terrible host because I didn't invite them in the first place. They invited themselves. I generously accommodated them despite the disruption to our usual routines. However, inviting another person into my home without my consent was completely unacceptable. Their tantrum when I refused to cave in, and their subsequent decision to leave for alternative accommodation, all the while attacking my character, means there will be a new set of rules before I consider hosting them again. I won't be going to hang out with them after the immature behavior they displayed in my house. I've had enough of their inappropriate actions for now, and I've decided to limit my contact with them until I feel I can face them again. They crossed a line by inviting someone I've never met into my home without my approval. They didn't ask, they simply informed me that it was happening. The fact that they mentioned my seemingly good mood indicates they were aware it wasn't a good idea. they assumed I would be a pushover and allow it. I'm standing up for myself and the safety of my children, and I know I'm not in the wrong here. I'm a 33-year-old woman, currently 5 months pregnant, while my 35-year-old husband is away on a business trip set to return next month. This is my first pregnancy, and recently I've been required to continue working at the office. When I first met my husband, he was incredibly skinny, and his eating habits were restricted due to his mother's cooking. She avoided spices, sauces, herbs, and even salt, sugar, and pepper, believing this bland approach was healthier. My husband grew accustomed to this tasteless diet, but when he tried my cooking, he realized there was a world of flavor beyond his mother's limited recipes. One Wednesday, I indulged my curry craving and made a large batch. While I usually had pre-prepared meals in the freezer, this time I gave in to the temptation. I left the extra portions in the fridge. On that day, my in-laws unexpectedly visited, having a spare key in case of emergencies. When I returned home, ready to enjoy my curry, I found it replaced by a dish made by my mother-in-law, who had thrown my meal away, claiming it tasted spoiled. Unable to stomach her cooking in my pregnant state, I discreetly gave the unwanted food to a homeless person. However, someone witnessed my act of kindness and informed my in-laws. Suddenly, I found myself bombarded with accusatory messages, even from my mother-in-law. "How could you throw away my food?" she texted me. "It's like you have no respect for me or my cooking," she accused. "I didn't throw it away," I replied. "I gave it to someone who needed it. Your cooking just doesn't agree with me right now," I explained. My husband supported me, but now I'm questioning if I overreacted. "Honestly," I said to him, "it seems like your in-laws are trying to control our life. Their invasion of our home, even when you're not there, is a huge red flag. While the focus seems to be on your mother-in-law throwing away my food, the real issue here is the lack of boundaries." "You're right," he agreed. "We need to set firm limits with them before our child is born. Consider changing the locks and installing security cameras to maintain your privacy and peace of mind. Remember, your home is your space, and you deserve to feel safe and respected within it."